If you're doing deliveries right now, alone in your car, you might want to save this for later. Because what I'm about to tell you started 3 weeks ago, and I still don't know if it's actually over. I drive for DoorDash. Have been for about 8 months now. Late shift, usually 10 p.m. to 4 a.m. because that's when the tips are best and the traffic is non-existent. It's mostly drunk people ordering chicken wings, insomniacs craving ice cream, nurses coming off shift. The work is mindless, peaceful even. Just me, my playlist, and the quiet streets of suburban Connecticut. The app's GPS voice is my only real companion on these runs. That calm, slightly robotic female voice, turn left in 500 feet, your destination is on the right. I've heard it so many times I could probably recreate her exact inflection in my sleep. The first time I got the order for 4768 Maple Drive, I didn't think anything of it. It came through at 2:47 a.m. on a Tuesday. McDonald's order. 2 cheeseburgers, large fries, chocolate shake, $12.37. The kind of order that's so standard it's basically white noise. Maple Drive is in the older part of town, where the houses spread out and the streetlights get farther apart. Big yards, tall trees that create these pools of shadow between the lights. The kind of neighborhood that probably looked really appealing in the daytime, listing photos, but feels different at 3 in the morning. I remember the GPS voice cutting through my music. You have arrived at your destination. The house was set back from the road, partially hidden by overgrown hedges. 2-story colonial, probably built in the 70s. The porch light was out. Actually, most of the lights on the street were out, which made the whole block feel darker than it should have been. The delivery instructions were specific. Leave at door, do not knock, do not ring doorbell, do not look in windows. Cash payment in envelope on doormat. That last line stuck with me. Do not look in windows. Who writes that? But hey, people are weird about their privacy. I've had customers who make me leave food at the end of their driveway, people who want me to text them a photo proof before I'm allowed to leave, people who insist I wait while they inspect the bag. This was just another quirk. I pulled into the driveway, my headlights swept across the front of the house, the windows were dark, curtains drawn. The whole place had this abandoned quality, like those houses you see in neighborhoods where half the residents moved away during a recession. Lawn a little too long, paint a little too faded, nothing dramatic, just neglected. I grabbed the McDonald's bag, got out of my car. My footsteps sounded loud on the cracked concrete driveway. There's something about being the only person moving in a silent neighborhood. It makes you hyper-aware of every sound you make. The envelope was exactly where the instructions said it would be. Plain white envelope, unsealed, sitting on the doormat. I picked it up and counted, $15. The food was $12.37, so that was a decent tip for a short run. I set the bag down, took the required photo for the app, and walked back to my car. The whole thing took maybe 90 seconds. Easy money. I didn't think about it again until the next night. Wednesday, 2:47 a.m., same order. McDonald's. 2 cheeseburgers, large fries, chocolate shake. Same address, 4768 Maple Drive. That's when I noticed the pattern. Same exact time. I mean to the minute. The order always came through at exactly 2:47. This delivery felt the same as the first. Dark house, no porch light, envelope on the doormat, $15 inside. I left the food and drove away. Thursday night, 2:47 a.m., same order, same address. Friday night, same thing. By Saturday, I was curious enough to mention it to another driver. I was waiting at the McDonald's on Route 7, the one that gets most of the late-night orders. There was another dasher there, guy named Marcus, mid-40s, drives a silver Honda Civic with a dent in the rear bumper. We'd crossed paths a few times, exchanged the usual complaints about the app, bad tips, annoying customers. I brought it up casually while we waited for our orders. Hey, you ever deliver to 4768 Maple Drive? The change in his expression was immediate. His whole face went tight. He looked at me for a long moment, then looked away. Yeah, he said quietly. Once. What's the deal with that place? I asked. Marcus grabbed his order from the counter, even though mine was called first. You should skip that address, he said. If it comes up again, just decline it. Trust me. But he didn't explain. Just walked out to his car and drove away, leaving me standing there with more questions than answers. That night, Sunday, 2:47 a.m., the order came through again. I stared at my phone screen, the little McDonald's icon, 4768 Maple Drive. For a few seconds, I considered declining it like Marcus suggested. But here's the thing about delivery driving. You get rated on your acceptance rate. Drop too low and you get fewer good orders, worse time slots. And it was just a house, a weird customer with a consistent schedule. So what? I accepted the order. The drive to Maple Drive took 11 minutes from the McDonald's. Same dark streets, same scattered streetlights creating those pools of shadow, my GPS voice guiding me through the familiar route. Turn right onto Maple Drive. As I got closer, I noticed something I hadn't paid attention to before. There were other houses on the street with lights on, upstairs bedrooms, living room TV glow, normal signs of life at 3 a.m., insomniacs, late shift workers, new parents. But 4768 stayed completely dark. I pulled into the driveway, headlights sweeping across the front of the house, and that's when I saw it. Parked on the street, about 3 houses down, was another car, engine running, headlights off, just sitting there. I grabbed the McDonald's bag, my heart beating a little faster than usual. The envelope was on the doormat, $15. I left the food, took the photo, walked back to my car. The other car was still there when I drove past. I couldn't see inside, tinted windows, but I felt watched, that specific prickle on the back of your neck when you know someone's looking at you. Monday night, 2:47 a.m., same order came through. This time, when I pulled onto Maple Drive, I drove past the house first. Slow. The car from the night before was gone. Everything looked normal, or as normal as it ever looked. I delivered the food, envelope on the mat, $15 inside. But as I was walking back to my car, I heard something. A sound from inside the house. Footsteps. Quick, light footsteps, moving from the back of the house toward the front. I stopped walking, stood there in the driveway, listening. The footsteps stopped too, right on the other side of the door. I could feel someone there, standing, waiting. The delivery instructions echoed in my mind. Do not knock, do not look in windows. I got in my car and left. I tried to find Marcus again. Spent Tuesday night parked outside that same McDonald's, waiting to see if he'd show up. He didn't. I even messaged him through the Dasher app, but he never responded. Whatever he knew about 4768 Maple Drive, he wasn't sharing. Tuesday night, 2:47 a.m. The order came through like clockwork. I accepted it. I don't know why. Maybe I was trying to prove to myself that it was nothing. Just a weird customer with a weird schedule. People order food at the same time every day. It's not that unusual. But this time, I decided to do something different. After I delivered the food and got back in my car, I didn't leave. I pulled forward to the end of the block, turned off my headlights, and parked where I could still see the house in my rearview mirror. I wanted to see who came out to get the food. 5 minutes passed. The McDonald's bag sat there on the doormat, lit by the glow of my phone screen as I pretended to check other delivery offers. 10 minutes. 15. Then the door opened. I couldn't see clearly from that distance, not in the dark. Just a shape. Someone reaching out, grabbing the bag, pulling it inside. The door closed. The whole thing took maybe 3 seconds. But here's what got me. The door didn't open all the way. Just a crack. Just wide enough for a hand to reach through. Like whoever was inside didn't want to be seen. Didn't want any light from inside the house to spill out onto the porch. I sat there for another 10 minutes, watching. No lights turned on inside, no movement in the windows, nothing. Finally, I drove home. Got to my apartment around 4:30 a.m., exhausted but too wired to sleep. I opened my laptop and did what I probably should have done weeks ago. I looked up the address. 4768 Maple Drive. Built in 1973. 3 bedrooms, 2 baths. Last sold in 2016 for $240,000. Current owner listed as Sarah Mitchell. I found Sarah Mitchell's Facebook page. Or at least, I found a page that seemed to match. Woman in her early 30s. Profile picture showed her at the beach, smiling, sunglasses pushed up on her head. Normal. Completely normal. But she hadn't posted anything in 6 months. The last post was from April. A photo of a coffee cup with the caption, Monday Mood. 43 likes. Dozen comments. Then nothing. I scrolled through her older posts. Pictures of friends, brunch, hiking trips, her cat. A whole normal life documented in photos and status updates. And then it just stopped. Wednesday night, 2:47 a.m. I was sitting in the McDonald's parking lot when the order came through. My finger hovered over the decline button. I thought about Marcus's warning. You should skip that address. But I accepted it anyway. The drive to Maple Drive felt longer that night. Every street seemed darker. Every shadow seemed deeper. My GPS voice felt less like a companion and more like something leading me somewhere I shouldn't go. Turn left onto Maple Drive. Your destination is ahead on the right. I pulled into the driveway, grabbed the bag, and this time, I really looked at the house. The windows weren't just dark, they were covered. Not with curtains, but with something else. Something that looked like it had been taped or nailed from the inside. Black plastic, maybe, completely blocking any view in or out. The envelope was on the doormat, $15, but my hands were shaking as I picked it up. I set the bag down, took the photo, and then I did something stupid, something I knew I shouldn't do. I looked in the window, not the covered ones. There was a small window next to the door, higher up, that didn't have the black plastic over it. I stood on my toes and peered through the glass. The interior was dark, but my eyes had adjusted enough to make out shapes. A hallway, stairs leading up, and at the end of the hall I could see into what looked like a kitchen. Someone was standing there, completely still, facing my direction. I jerked back from the window, my heart hammering, ran to my car, hands fumbling with the door handle. I got in, started the engine, and peeled out of the driveway faster than I've ever moved in my life. 3 blocks away, I had to pull over. My hands were shaking so badly I couldn't hold the steering wheel steady. I sat there, breathing hard, telling myself it was just the homeowner, Sarah Mitchell, getting her food. Nothing weird about that. Except she'd been standing there in the dark, not moving, just standing. I went home. Couldn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw that figure in the kitchen, standing, waiting. Thursday, I called in sick. Didn't do any deliveries. Spent the whole day trying to convince myself to block that address in the app, to never accept another order from 4768 Maple Drive. But Friday night, I was back on the road. Bills don't pay themselves. Student loans don't care if you're freaked out by a customer. I worked my normal route, 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. Easy deliveries, good tips, everything normal. I was starting to relax, telling myself that I'd overreacted, that I'd been watching too many scary movies, that there was a reasonable explanation for everything. And then, at 2:47 a.m. exactly, the order came through. McDonald's. 2 cheeseburgers, large fries, chocolate shake, 4768 Maple Drive. I stared at my phone. My thumb moved toward the decline button, but then I saw something that made me stop. There was a note in the delivery instructions, a new line I hadn't seen before. It said, "We know you looked. Come anyway. It's important." My blood went cold. We know you looked. They'd seen me. Of course they had. I'd been standing right there at the window. I should have declined, should have thrown my phone out the window and driven in the opposite direction. But that last part, it's important. What was important? Why did they need me specifically? I accepted the order. The McDonald's was busy for a Friday night. I had to wait 10 minutes for the order to be ready. 10 minutes of standing there, staring at my phone, reading and rereading those delivery instructions. We know you looked. Come anyway. It's important. Finally, the bag was ready. I walked to my car like I was walking to an execution. Every rational part of my brain was screaming at me to turn around, to go home, to never go near Maple Drive again. But I drove there anyway. The street was emptier than usual. No cars parked on the curbs, no lights on in the neighboring houses. Even the streetlights seemed dimmer, like something was draining the power from them. I turned onto Maple Drive. Your destination is ahead on the right. And that's when I saw it. Parked in the driveway of 4768. My car, the same make, same model, same color, same dent in the front bumper from when I'd backed into a pole at the grocery store last month, Same parking permit hanging from the rearview mirror. My car was already there. I slammed on my brakes in the middle of the street, sat there, staring. This wasn't possible. I was in my car. I was sitting in it right now. But there it was, parked in the driveway, empty. And then I saw movement on the porch. Someone was walking up to the front door, someone carrying a McDonald's bag, someone wearing jeans and a black hoodie, exactly like the ones I was wearing right now. It was me. I watched myself walk up to the door, watched myself bend down to pick up the envelope from the doormat, watched myself set the bag down, pull out my phone, take the required photo. My hands gripped the steering wheel so hard my knuckles went white. This wasn't happening. This couldn't be happening. The other me straightened up, started to turn back toward the car in the driveway, and then she stopped, froze. Her head tilted slightly like she was listening to something. Slowly, she turned toward the window, the same window I'd looked through 2 nights ago. "No," I whispered. "Don't do it. Don't look." But she did. She stepped closer to the window, rose up on her toes, peered through the glass. For a moment, nothing happened. She just stood there, looking in. And then her whole body went rigid. Even from this distance, I could see the fear on her face. My face. She stumbled backward, turned, ran to the car. I watched myself fumble with the door handle, get in, start the engine. The car backed out of the driveway. The headlights swept across my windshield, and for just a second, we made eye contact. Me and me. Her eyes were wide with terror, her mouth open in a scream I couldn't hear. The car peeled away down the street, taillights disappearing around the corner. I sat there in the middle of Maple Drive, alone, the McDonald's bag still warm in my passenger seat, my heart pounding so hard I could feel it in my throat. The house stood dark and silent, waiting. I should have left, should have turned around and driven away and never looked back, but I needed to understand, needed to know what was happening to me. I pulled into the driveway, the same spot where my car had been parked just moments ago. I turned off the engine. The sudden silence was overwhelming. I grabbed the McDonald's bag with shaking hands, got out of the car. My footsteps sounded impossibly loud on the concrete. The envelope was there on the doormat. I picked it up, $15, exactly like always. I set the bag down, pulled out my phone to take the photo, but my hands were shaking so badly I could barely hold it steady. That's when I heard the GPS voice. But I wasn't in my car. My phone was in my hand. The voice was coming from somewhere else. "Turn left in 500 feet, it said. Female, calm, familiar. I looked up. The voice was coming from inside the house. "Your destination is on the right?" The door opened, not a crack this time, all the way open. The hallway beyond was dark, but I could see shapes, movement, and at the end of the hall, illuminated by a faint blue glow, I could see into the kitchen. Someone was standing there, the same figure I'd seen before, but now I could see more details. Black hoodie, jeans, phone in hand, the screen casting that blue glow upward onto her face. My face. She was staring at her phone, at the DoorDash app, waiting for an order. "You have arrived at your destination," the GPS voice said from somewhere deeper in the house. The figure in the kitchen looked up, looked directly at me standing in the doorway, and smiled. I ran. I don't remember making the decision to run. My body just moved. I was at my car, hand on the door handle, when I heard footsteps behind me, fast, getting closer. I yanked the door open, threw myself inside, slammed it shut, hit the lock button. My hands fumbled for the keys, dropped them, grabbed them again, shoved them into the ignition. A face appeared at my window. My face, pressed against the glass, eyes wide, mouth moving, saying something I couldn't hear. The engine started. I threw the car into reverse, stomped on the gas. The tires squealed. The figure at my window stumbled back, and I caught a glimpse of her in my rearview mirror as I backed out of the driveway. She was standing in the driveway, just standing there, watching me leave. I drove. Didn't know where I was going, just drove. Through empty streets, past closed stores, through intersections without stopping. My GPS was silent. No calm voice telling me where to turn. Eventually, I ended up at a 24-hour diner on the highway, parked in the lot under the bright fluorescent lights. There were other people inside, real people, truck drivers, a family with a crying baby, a cop drinking coffee at the counter. Normal, safe. I sat in my car for an hour, maybe longer, watching the people in the diner, trying to convince myself that what I'd seen wasn't real, that I was exhausted, that I'd been doing too many late-night shifts and my brain was playing tricks on me. But I knew the truth. I'd seen myself, multiple versions of myself, all trapped in some kind of loop, delivering the same food to the same house at the same time. And the worst part? I couldn't remember. Couldn't remember the first time I'd delivered to 4768 Maple Drive. The memory was there, I knew it had happened, but when I tried to focus on it, it slipped away like water through my fingers. How many times had I made this delivery? How many nights had I driven to that house, seen myself already there, watched myself look through the window and run away in terror? My phone buzzed. A notification from the DoorDash app. Your completion rate has dropped. Accept more orders to improve your standing. I stared at the screen. According to the app, I'd missed a delivery tonight. The order for 4768 Maple Drive. Declined or not completed. But I had completed it. I'd driven there. I'd seen everything. Hadn't I? I opened my photo gallery, scrolled to tonight's date. There should have been a photo there, the required proof of delivery photo I took at every address. But there was nothing. No photo from 4768 Maple Drive. No proof I'd ever been there tonight. I checked my messages, my call log, my location history. Nothing. It was like the last hour had been erased from my phone's memory. The diner's neon sign flickered. Once, twice. The lights inside dimmed for just a moment. When they came back up, I saw someone sitting in a booth by the window. Someone who hadn't been there a second ago. Black hoodie, phone on the table, staring at the DoorDash app. She looked up, made eye contact with me through the windshield. It was me. I started the car, pulled out of the parking lot, drove without thinking, just putting distance between myself and the diner. I ended up at my apartment complex, parked in my assigned spot, sat there, staring at the building. How did I know this was my apartment? How did I know any of this was real? I went inside anyway, climbed the stairs to the third floor, unlocked the door to apartment 3C. Everything looked normal. My furniture, my mess, my life. I grabbed my laptop, opened it, searched for any information I could find about 4768 Maple Drive, about Sarah Mitchell, about other delivery drivers. That's when I found it. A Reddit thread from 7 months ago, posted in a subreddit for gig workers. The title was, "Has anyone else delivered to the house on Maple Drive?" The original post was from someone with the username Night Shift Mike. He described the same thing, the same address, the same 2:47 a.m. order, the same McDonald's meal, the same cash in an envelope. But his story went further than mine. He wrote, "I delivered there for 2 weeks straight. Same order every single night. On the 14th night, I saw my own car in the driveway. I saw myself delivering the food. When I tried to talk to the other me, she ran away. I haven't been able to stop delivering there since. Every night at 2:47, I get the order. Every night, I accept it. I can't stop myself. Even when I try to decline it, my finger presses accept. Even when I try to drive somewhere else, I end up on Maple Drive. If you get this order, decline it. Don't be like me. Don't become stuck." The post had 3 comments, all from the same day it was posted, 7 months ago. The first comment, "Dude, you need sleep. You're working too many hours." The second comment, "This is creepy. I'm in the same area. What's the exact address?" The third comment was from Night Shift Mike, 4768 Maple. "Please stay away. I'm trying to warn." The comment cut off. He never finished it, and he never posted again. I checked his profile. 7 months of silence. His last post was that unfinished comment. My hands were shaking. I searched for more, found a local news article from April, the same month Sarah Mitchell stopped posting on Facebook. Local woman reported missing. Sarah Mitchell, 32, was reported missing by her employer after failing to show up for work for 3 consecutive days. Her car was found in her driveway. Her phone was inside the house, still charged, no signs of struggle. Police found no evidence of foul play. The investigation was ongoing. That was 6 months ago. I searched for updates, found nothing. No resolution, no closure, just silence. I closed my laptop, looked at the clock on my wall, 3:47 a.m. I'd lost an hour. The last thing I remembered clearly was sitting in the diner parking lot around 2:30, but somehow it was almost 4 a.m. now. My phone buzzed. I didn't want to look, didn't want to see what I knew would be there, but I looked anyway. DoorDash notification. New order ready for pickup. McDonald's. 2 cheeseburgers, large fries, chocolate shake. Delivery address, 4768 Maple Drive. Pickup time, 2:47 a.m. But it was 3:47. The order was from an hour ago, an hour I couldn't remember. I opened the app with trembling fingers, checked my delivery history. There it was, completed delivery, 4768 Maple Drive, 3:15 a.m. Photo attached. I clicked on the photo. It showed a McDonald's bag sitting on a doormat, a plain doormat in front of a dark door, standard proof of delivery photo. But I didn't remember taking it, didn't remember driving there, didn't remember any of it. An hour of my life just gone. I stood up, started pacing my apartment. This was insane. I needed to call someone. The police, a doctor, someone who could help me figure out what was happening. But who would believe me? That I was seeing copies of myself, that I was losing time, that a house was somehow trapping delivery drivers in some kind of loop. I sounded crazy. Even to myself, I sounded crazy. I went to my window, looked out at the parking lot. My car was there, parked in my assigned spot. I could see it clearly under the streetlight. Except there were 2 of them, 2 identical cars, parked side by side. I blinked, looked again. Now there was only one. My car, alone. I was losing my mind. I grabbed my keys. I don't know what I was planning. Maybe to drive far away. Maybe to go to the police station. Maybe just to prove to myself that I could still make my own choices. But when I got to the parking lot, I stopped. There was something tucked under my windshield wiper, a white envelope. I picked it up with shaking hands. It was unsealed. Inside were 15 $1 bills. And a note, handwritten on a receipt from McDonald's. You looked. Now you're part of it. 2:47 a.m. Every night, forever. We're all still delivering. We're all still trying to leave. Some of us have been here for years. Don't fight it. It only makes it worse. The house needs its deliveries. The house always gets its deliveries. The handwriting looked familiar. It took me a moment to realize why. It was mine. I got in my car, started driving. I told myself I was going anywhere but Maple Drive. Anywhere but that house. But my hands turned the wheel without my permission. My foot pressed the gas, and my GPS voice, that calm, familiar voice, started speaking. Turn right in 500 feet. I hadn't entered a destination. The GPS wasn't even on, but the voice continued. Turn left onto Maple Drive. I tried to fight it, tried to turn the wheel, but my hands wouldn't obey. They kept driving, kept following the invisible route. Your destination is ahead on the right. I pulled onto Maple Drive. It was 4:30 a.m. now, too early for the delivery, but I was there anyway. And I wasn't alone. There were cars parked all along the street, different makes, different models, but I recognized some of them. The silver Honda Civic with the dented bumper, Marcus's car. There were others too, at least a dozen cars, parked at different angles, like they'd all arrived at different times and never left. I pulled into the driveway of 4768. My headlights swept across the front of the house. The door was open. And standing in the doorway, silhouetted against the darkness inside, were people. So many people. All of them wearing delivery bags. All of them holding their phones. All of them staring at me. I recognized some of the faces, saw them and knew, somehow, that they were all me. Different versions, from different nights, all trapped here. But there were others too. Other drivers, other people who'd made the mistake of accepting the order, of looking in the window, of becoming part of whatever this place was. One of them stepped forward. It was Marcus. He looked exactly the same as the last time I'd seen him, except his eyes were empty, hollow. He walked to my car, tapped on the window. I rolled it down. I don't know why. I couldn't help myself. You should have declined it, he said. His voice was flat, emotionless. I tried to warn you. What is this place? I whispered. He smiled, but there was no humor in it. This is where we deliver. This is all we do now. 2:47 a.m. Every night, the order comes through. We accept it, we deliver it, and we wait for the next one. Forever? He nodded. Forever. Or until someone else looks, until someone else joins us. Then maybe one of us gets to leave. That's what we hope anyway, but no one ever has. The other figures were walking toward my car now. Slow, deliberate, all of them holding their phones, all of them waiting. My phone buzzed. I looked down, even though I knew what it would say. New order, McDonald's, 2 cheeseburgers, large fries, chocolate shake. 4768 Maple Drive. Pickup time, 2:47 a.m. But it wasn't 2:47 yet. It was 4:30. The order shouldn't exist. Unless time didn't matter anymore. Unless I was already trapped. I looked up at Marcus. How do I leave? You don't, he said simply. None of us do. The sun was starting to rise, the first hints of dawn touching the horizon. The figures around my car began to fade, becoming translucent in the growing light. Marcus took a step back, his form flickering. See you tonight, he said, 2:47. And then they were gone, all of them. The cars on the street vanished, the house door closed. Everything looked normal again, just an ordinary house on an ordinary street at dawn. I was alone in the driveway. I drove home, crawled into bed, stared at the ceiling. I didn't sleep, couldn't sleep. And now it's night again. I'm sitting in my car outside the McDonald's. It's 2:46 a.m. In 1 minute, the order will come through, and I'll accept it. I know I will. I can already feel my finger moving toward the screen, even though the notification hasn't appeared yet. I'm telling you this because maybe someone will hear it. Maybe someone else will get that order. Maybe you'll see this address and remember. 4768 Maple Drive. If you get an order for that address, decline it. Don't make the same mistake I did. Don't look in the windows. Don't try to understand. Just decline it and drive away. My phone is buzzing. The order is here. McDonald's, 2 cheeseburgers, large fries, chocolate shake. And my finger is already moving to accept.